topics in programming for problem solving. So we'll see it one by one. Now I'll tell you what are the overview which we are going to see in this lecture. So we are going to see about the array basic and types, array declaration, array initialization, accessing and indexing one-dimensional array, array operations, and some example programs for it. So first we need to know what is an array. An array is a type of data structure only. It comes under data structure. But the thing is, array stores a fixed size. That is, it have some sequential collection of elements which is of same type. The types cannot be different. Either it should be of integer type, or it should be of float type, or it should be of a character type. So in other word, I can tell you this is a contiguous memory allocations. So normally an array will be accessed by its index. It is accessed by an index. So here the lowest address is called as your what is that, the first element, and the highest address is your last element. So for example, I can tell you, you see this, take this an example, 2, 3, 15, 8, 48, and 33. So all are of integer types. Integer, it's numbers. So I can tell the whole this particular array, the size is, I can tell it is, the size is n, or else I can tell you the n is normally we have 6 elements in the particular array. And here the first element 2 is called as your first element, and 13 will be your last element. So we denote it as your 2 as the first element and 13 as the last element. So 0, that is n of 0 is the index which points out to the first element 2. Similarly, next the index will be keeping on incremented. N of 1 will be 3. The n array 2 will be holding the element 15, and n3 will be holding the element 18, and n4 will be holding the element 48, and n5 will be holding the element 30. So coming to the types of an array, there are two types, that is single dimensional array and multi-dimensional array. So here we are going to concentrate in this lecture only about the single dimensional array, which is also called as one-dimensional array. So single dimensional array, we can also call it as linear arrays, or it can be represented as 1D arrays also. And it is used to store list of values of same data type, as I told what happens in array only. So, and always it has a row of values and the data will be in a linear form. Now, how to declare the single dimensional array? So, the syntax will be normally the data type, then the array name and the size. Data type is maybe an integer, a float, or a character. An array name can be any name which you can specify based upon your program. And the size is how many you need to store. So in this I have taken an example of int is the data type here, and the array name is student number, and the size is 20. So normally what happens is it will reserve 20 continuous memory allocations of 2 bytes each. 2 bytes each in the sense here it is integer. So integer is of whole C 2 bytes. So 2 bytes each, it will hold a continuous memory allocations with the name as student number, and it will tell the compiler to store the integer values into those memory locations. So now initialization, same thing. Here data type, the same what I told you the previous thing, data type, array name, the size. So here you can see the size. With that I have stopped it. And there is another way of initialization is you can give the values of the particular, maybe if I need to give a student marks, so how you can specify is a data type, the array name, size, a value 1, value 2, etc., any number of values. So here in this example, I have given us your student marks is your data type. Okay, student integer is your data type, student marks is your array name, and the size is 5. So I have specified the values here itself. I haven't given at the runtime. I have given in the compile time itself. I have given the inputs 98, 96, 98, 75. So how it will get allocated is first 98 will be in the first memory location, 96 in the second memory location, 88 in the third memory location, 75 in the fourth, and 83 in the fifth memory location. So my it starts with the zeroth Normally 90 it will be in the zeroth location, first location, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So we will see the next one. This is what the initialization. Now the same thing you can give it without specifying the same initialization. You can give it without specifying the size and the initial value. See here, data type, array name. See, I haven't specified any size over here. In your previous slide, you can see there is a size I have given as 5, but it is not necessary. You have to give compulsory as 5. So without the size also, I can initialize the single dimensional array. So the same data type int I have given with student marks. I have not given any specific size over here. Instead, I can give the marks like this. So size of the array, the default is it will take us 5 because I have given only 5 marks over here. And for this, in the character array, you see the student name is I have given as first virtual class. So how the size of the array will be, starting from F till S, there are 17 what is that, 17 elements. That is 1 2 3 4 5 6 17 characters, I can tell you. So in the end, it will take an extra character, that is your /0, that is called as null, which will automatically gets allocated. So the size of the student character, student name will be 18. Similarly, how to access the elements of the single dimensional array. So to access the elements using the array name, you have to give followed by the index value. The index value is the main thing which you need to have for accessing the particular element. So how to provide the index value is you must enclose it in squared brackets. So squared braces, otherwise I can tell you. So here you see the syntax, array name of index value. So if in the previous example, we have given the array name as student marks. So if I'm giving a student marks of 2 is equal to 90. So what happens is normally the student marks 2 will change the marks index 2 in the array will be changed to the mark 90, or else if you want to retrieve, you are going to retrieve it using the particular index. So what is being already stored will be retrieved, the value will be retrieved. So here also you have to keep in mind your normally your single dimensional array will start with 0 only until your end of the element. Now there are many operations which holds over here. The operations are traversal, copying, reversing, sorting, insertion, deletion, searching, and merging. So here we are not going to see, there are many operations available. Here we are going to see about the traversal, copying, reversing, and sorting. So insertion, deletion, all you will study in the future. So first we'll see the operations one by one. So first, if I enter into the traversal means searching or accessing an element to perform. You can perform any operation. Maybe you can count how many elements are there, or you can calculate the result based upon the marks which are provided. Or another way I can tell you, you can also find out the addition of the particular elements or the subtraction of the particular elements. So there are many operations which can be performed here. So the algorithm, general algorithm is initially you have to provide the lower index, your array index, which will be normally your 0. And then you have to compare the particular counter till your upper index, maybe the how many number of elements. So based on this, maybe if you have 5 elements, you are taking from 0 to n minus 1. 5 means n minus 1, so 0 to 4. That will be the total count of 5. So now, starting with the initial position of 0 to 4, you can traverse the particular element, and what you can do is you can either add it up, or add it up, or you can perform the count how many number of elements are there, or you can find an average of it by incrementing the counter one by one. This is your basic steps where you have to find it for your traversing a particular number of elements in an. So we will see with an example. Write a program to calculate the average marks of a particular student. So here you can see that first header files are being declared, and now you started with your initializing I, and what you're doing is you're keeping a marks of 5 marks we are going to take. So I have, this is what array, marks of 5. So this is an array name and 5 marks are being taken. And n is the number of, that is elements or subjects what you are going to take. And your sum means initially we are going to calculate the average. For average, you need the sum actually. You need the sum because initially we do not know what the sum will be. So what you will do is you will calculate the sum is equal to, you will initialize the sum as 0. So then only you can keep on adding the number one by one to this particular 0. So your average will be of decimal values. So you have to give it in float. Okay. So other numbers all are declared, other variables are integer. So first using your input statement printf, you are first getting the number of subjects. So number of subjects, then you have to use scanf to get the input from the keyboard. So ampersand n. N is the one which we are going to get the number of subjects. So ampersand n. Now printf, enter the marks obtained in your subject. So you are going to get the marks now one by one using, this is what array concept where it is implemented. So now you can see your I starts with, using for loop only, you are going to get the marks one by one. So I is starting with 0. I should be less than n because n what we give should be always less because it starts with 0. So always it will be n minus 1 itself, your array will be ended. So n and your incrementing counterpart I plus plus. Now what you are doing is you are going to get the marks. So each time when I is equal to 0, it will ask enter the, that is enter the marks of 0. That is the first student's marks will be, has to be entered. Now again it will check the for loop I less than n, that is your I was 0 first. So 0 less than, if you have given us 5, 0 less than 5, so it is true. So what it will happen, it will increment the I now. I will be incremented. So I will become 1 now, and now it will get the marks of your second student. So mark of 1. So first initially we have given mark of 0. Now mark of 1. So 1 mark is being given as 30. Now again what happens, you are taking the next input. I is equal to, I again becomes, it checks with 2, 2 less than, 1 less than n. So again true. So I will be incremented to 2. Likewise, the increment happens until it becomes 3, 4, 4 becomes 4 less than 5, it becomes true. Then it increments 5 and then at that time your loop gets entered over here. So you have got the 5 marks over here. Now you are going to sum it up now. So summation also, how you have already, we have given sum as 0. So using the for loop for I is equal to 0, first sum is equal to, your initial sum was 0. So 0 plus mark of 0. So what is your first mark? 20. So 0 plus 20 will be added and this sum, new sum will be holding the value of 20 now. Now again it will go for the next one. I will be in, now this condition is checked. Now what happens? It will increment. When I is equal to 0, it will check this condition and before processing this increment, this will be added up. Then again it will go here, it will increment and now it will take the first value. I is incremented and again it checks with the condition is being checked. Now again already previous value is 20. So 20 plus 30 will be now added up and stored as 50. Now again the next I will be incremented again. It will be compared with I less than, I is 3 now or 2, whatever. It compares with n. Again then third marks will be taken. Likewise all the marks will be added up and it will be stored in this sum. Once this is done, the average, we are going to calculate the average. Here we are not printing the sum over here, only the average. If you want, you can even give a printf and print the sum also. Now average will be the total sum by n. So sum, what is the sum which we have got by n? So by n is 5. So now it is asking to print. Why this percentage point to f is after point, that is after my average, in my average answer, after my point, I need 2 decimals to be printed. So that is what I have given point to f. And it is returning 0. Since it is int main, you have to return 0. So now see, enter the number of subjects. You have entered the marks of all the subjects one by one. And now you have taken the output of it. So that is your total divided by n will give you 40. I will show you the execution execution of this if you want. I'll show you at last. Now again, coming to the next operation, copying elements of an array. So with copying elements of an array is for example, your array A has some elements, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want to copy that elements into another array, same. So both the arrays will be array B. Maybe A is having some sort of elements and B is also having the same elements repeated. So copying the array of elements to another array will yield an array of the same length as the original one. So you need to have the same length in both the array which is being copied also. Okay, or else it should be same or greater. Okay, because it should hold the entire elements which is being happening from your copying from your A to B. Okay, so now here the algorithm is take two arrays, store the values in A, then using a loop take all the values from each of A and copy it into B. Okay, so we'll see the program now. So here, see here, int main, these header files you can give main. So here there are two arrays taken into consideration, array 1 and array 2. So array 1, it is holding an I variable. This is for loop and number. So you are getting the number of elements and you are getting all the elements. What number of elements is 5. So that is what. Now you are going to accept or get 5 elements from using an array only. So you need a for loop for it. I is equal to 0, I less than number. I have given here as number. So I have given num. If I give n, I have to give here n. So using the for loop, I'm going to get each elements one by one. So I have got the elements as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I have taken, now my array A is having some sort of elements. Now I'm going to copy it into an array called B. So what I'm doing is, initially I is equal to 0, 0 less than 5, and I'll come, see here, an array 1 element, first element in array of I is now 0, right? So 0. So array 1, that is for example A array, is now copied. The first element of A array is copied to the array B or to the second element now. Now again this will go and increment I now. I becomes 1 now. So 1 less than 5. Again it is true. So array 2 of the particular one will be having the element of array A. Array 1 second element is now copied to array 2's second element as array 2's second element. Now again it will be incremented to 2. So again it compares 2 less than a number, that is your 5. So again and your I is now 2 now. So second element, that is your index I'm sending. The third element of your array 1 will be copied to the third element of array 2. So likewise the process repeats till the 5 elements, and now it is printed out. So for printing, normally you know that you have to give printf array 2 of the particular elements, which what is that array index I, and array 2's element is now printed. So you can see it in the input and output, number of elements, array elements is given here. The copied array is 1. See here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have printed in the same order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is how which happens in the copying of elements. Now I'll go to the third one, reversing the element. Reversing an array means the entire array will be reversed. It is not rotating, it is reversing. For example, if 1 and 2 is in the, for A of 0 is holding 1 and A of 1 is holding 2, after reversal, A of 0 will have 2 and A of 1 will have, A of 1 will have 1. So just it gets reversed, or I can tell it gets swapped, interchanged. That's the meaning. So here 2 elements are there, it is interchanging. Otherwise, how maybe if there is 2, 4, 5, 1 means it will reverses 1, 5, 4, 2. So this is what we are going to see it now. So the algorithm is get the input from the user, store the value of the element of A in B, starting with the last element of A. Okay, loop each value and store each value of element B into A. That is the reverse back of the particular array. So I will show with an example which makes you more clear. So here you see normally how many number of elements is n, I and j. Here we are going to use to, so for finding out or copying the particular elements, we need two variables I and j and two arrays A and B. So first get the number of elements in an array. So using scann, you have got the number of elements, that is number 5. Enter the array elements. So you have, using the for loop, you are going to get the elements one by one, starting from 0 to the number of elements you have given. So in this case also I have assumed as 5 itself. Now what you are going to do is you are going to copy the elements into, so the previous element was just, first it was like only the previous operation was copying only. So you used a for loop, you just copied an element of A array or A array to B array. But here, first you are copying, see here, copying the elements into array B starting. But the thing is there, the first element in copying you did, the first element will be copied to array 2 as the first element. Second element will be of array 1 will be copied to array 2 of the second element. But here it is the other case. That is, you can see here, for I is equal to n minus 1. 1 will be starting from the last position. One array, you are using two variables, 2, I and j. 2 indices I can tell, 2 indexes. So one will be with n minus 1, one will be with 0. J is from 0. So always your I should be greater than or equal to 0, because if n is 5, 5 minus 1, so it will be 4. It starts with 4. That's the meaning based upon here. So 1 is from the last index 4th, and j, I is from the last index you're taking, and j is from the first index you're going to take. So always your I should be greater than or equal to 0. That is the condition. Now, what happens is the first, see here, A of I was 4 first, right? So A of 4 is now copied to B of 0. That is, B of 0 is now going to have the fourth element. That is, your B array is going to have the fourth element of your A array. That is what that will be. That is the reverse procedure. Here, the last element will become the first element over here. So it is done over here. Similarly, then your j will be incremented. J becomes 1 now. And what happens? Again, I here j is incremented, but I remains the same. So now what happens is j is now 1. So it again checks with the condition. And what it does is, again it will take a of I is now 3. So again, B of 3 will hold now. That is, J is now 1, right? B of 1 will hold the array of third element. So likewise it goes. And here there is another for. So when it happens, one element is copied over here. Now what happens using the next for loop? Now see here, B of I will be taken to the, that is B of I, what it holds, which element is hold, is now moving to the A array. So likewise, this loop will be, until this loop becomes false, this will be running. And after that, when this condition becomes false, this loop starts to run until it gets copied, until the reverse procedure is getting copied. Now printing, now the reversed array is now printed out. The reversed array will be printed out in a condition that this is just only printing. So starting from your I index 0, all the elements will be printed. So enter the array elements 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now your output is the reverse of it. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11 will be done over here. Now you are going to sort the elements of an array. This is your next operation. Sorting the elements will be done, either you can sort it in ascending order or descending order. And you have many sorting procedure. You have many sorting. You have bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort, quick sort, merge sort, which you will be studying further in the next 4 coming years. But here we are going to see only the basic thing, which is only a bubble sort. So in bubble sort, what happens is each element will be compared and swapped. That is, first will be compared with second, swapped. Then again, second will be compared with third. If it is lesser, it gets swapped. Third will be compared with fourth. Likewise, it goes on. So you create an array of fixed size, take the number of elements and iterate it. So it will be normally in an unsorted fashion only. Each element as a nested loop, it will be starting to compare with the other elements in the group. In case the element is greater, you interchange it. That is, if your first element, second element. If your second element is lesser, you have to swap it actually. That is the meaning. First and the second is compared. If first is lesser, it keeps it in the same place. In case your second one is lesser, second one will take the hold of your first element. So now again we'll see here, you have two I and j variables. N is a variable, array elements, temp. You need a temp where you have to, for swapping, we use it normally. So here you get the number of elements in an array, enter the number of elements for I less than n, scan it up. Then what you're doing is, you are going to, for now you're getting all the elements. That's the meaning of this for loop. Then using this for loop and this for loop, what you're doing is, I initially is 0 and j will be the next element, I plus 1. So 1 and 2 is there, means I will be 1 pointing to the first element, and j plus j will be the next one, second element. So that two will be compared. Now you can see here, array of first element and array of the second will be compared. In case if array of your first element is greater, you cannot directly, so the only through program you have to keep a temporary variable and swap it. So what will happen is, your first element, ith element of the array will move, that is your first element will move to first set variable, temporary variable temp. And again your jth element, that is your second element, will now move into the first element. Now what happens? Now your second place is free now, because the second element of j only has moved to the first element. So the second position is free now. So now the temp, what is in temp, will be now holding in the second position. Likewise, then so first 1 2 is compared. Now 2 3 will be compared. When 2 and 3 compared also, if 3 is greater or 3 is lesser, what happens? 3 has to move to the second position now. So again it will move to the temp. For a temporary variable it moves, then it gets swapped. For swapping we need to follow this procedure. Now finally everything will be swapped, and now we are going to print it out in the ascending order. And normally for loop you have to use and you have to print it. So you are getting the number of elements, it is in unsorted order. After that it will be in the sorted order. Okay, so this is what we have seen now. Now I will show you about the execution of this particular procedure, how we can execute and see. So already I have explained the concept. So now I will show how this is getting executed one by one. So see here, average of the elements. So same program which I have explained you only. So run, you can give a run. So what happens is, you can give the number of elements as 5, enter, and 5 elements you have to give. So 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. So 5 elements I have given. So you can see here the average of the marks is 40, because we have asked to print only the average, and that is 0.0f. So we are here getting here after that 2 points. Okay. So then this is what average. This program already explained in your previous. Now the next one is, next one we will see. Copying the elements. So copying. So here this also already being explained. We are going to maintain two arrays, and one array, second array is first array. From the first array, all the elements are going to have a copy in the second array also. So enter the number of elements. We are going to give it as 5. So it is asking the elements one by one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how it is being copied, you can see it now. See here. See here, the copied array is as follows. You have all the arrays over here. The 1 is having, so one array of 0 is 1, array of 1 is 2. So all the elements in the first array is being copied to your second array. This is what your second program about. And now your third one is the reversing of the elements. So same thing which we have seen, the same program, only I have done it over here. So here we will see the reversing. Enter the elements. So 5. So enter the elements. I can give you as this 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So it should be reversed, 15, 14, this one. So you can see here the reversed array is 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. This is your reversed array. So these three are the final one is your sorting program. So sorting, I told we have used your bubble sort. So we are using a temporary variable, and based on that we are going to do the sorting. So it is asking the number of elements. So I am giving us 5 and I am giving 22, 10, 73, 38 and 56. So you can see it is in the sorting order. You see here 10, 22, 38, 56, 73. Okay, with this your actually, so this is what your array concept.